Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It is Google MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio and Michael Bullock. We got a very loaded show here tonight, guys, as we are going to be previewing day one of the WWE, and of course, we will be also recapping NXT 2.0 and AEW Dynamite that just went down here tonight. We just went off the air just a couple of minutes ago. So let's start with NXT first. And we started it off, guys, with a promo segment by Grayson Waller. And then he went up against Odyssey Jones. Then was interrupted by AJ Styles, who basically promoted himself, basically telling Waller, "Yeah, all right, you wanna do this? We'll do it next week at New Year's Evil. You and me one on one." Look, I'm gonna say it. Waller has really become a big time heel in WWE, and especially in the NXT era. His body of work has done really well within the last few months, and he has made himself into a star. Do I, I believe we're not really very high on the guy, but I mean, still, whatever you want to say is whatever it is. But at the end of the day, he's done a pretty damn good job, and now we got to think about what's the future going to be. So, what's it going to look like? Well, now he's going to face with one of the biggest names in WWE. He's going up against the phenomenal AJ Styles one on one. This could be a very interesting matchup, to say the very least. As far as the Odyssey Jones fight, I mean, it was all right, I guess. I mean, you could give this about maybe 2.5 stars. I mean, it was about 7 minutes and 35 seconds altogether, but it just showcased Grayson Waller, which is not bad, no problem there. Now the question becomes, what's going to be next? We'll wait and find out. But we do know, Anthony, at New Year's Evil, he does have a date with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles.
Well, I'll tell you, MF. AJ Styles versus Grayson Waller next week will be a huge test for the young heel who is running with his new heel heat. If he can rise to the phenomenal one's level, he may head to Monday Night Raw sooner rather than later. Now, as far as the Odyssey Jones thing goes, 2.5 stars for the effort. Jones has yet to show he can compete at a high level. He is a talented big man, but he needs his opponent to push him. Grayson Waller is not yet the kind of talent who can elevate wrestlers in the ring. Ultimately, this served its purpose. NXT 2.0 had to quickly make up for Dexter Lumis missing the show, and Odyssey Jones made sense within the story. Also, with his size and strength, it was an impressive win for Waller, who does not have many of those yet. So 2.5 stars for that. They're not really saying this is a match with Styles and Waller. They're saying it's more of like a confrontation. I think this could be more of an angle than a match, really. So, but we'll have to wait and see on that. So, there isn't much more to say. So, like a bullet, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on all this.
Yeah, I mean, Grayson Waller, like you said, I mean, he is right now the biggest heel in NXT 2.0 right now, and he's basically doing what he can to make everyone despise him. And quite frankly, I despise him. And I don't know about you, but he's sort of like their version of MJF, who basically doesn't give a you know what how you feel about him. And yeah, so I like what they're building, even though I can't stand the guy. But yeah, as far as the match goes with Odyssey Jones, I'll say 2.5 stars. I mean, I thought it was a fine match here to build Grayson Waller, and yeah, he's got a confrontation with the phenomenal AJ Styles. So all I can say is you better back up your words, boy, because as AJ Styles would always like to say, Florio, what does he want?
They don't want none. They don't want none.
Yeah, Grayson. All I can say is you better. There's an old saying: always keep your words soft and sweet, because you might have to eat them later. So we'll see what happens when you come face to face with the phenomenal one again next week at New Year's Evil. So nothing more to say, Fletch. Let's move on.
Yeah, all right. So with that said, we do indeed move on, and we will move on to the next part of the show after the Grayson Waller thing. Then after that, we had a little bit of, it was basically a promo. Well, not really promo, but it was everything that was going on with, you know, I guess you could say it was a backstage thing as we had MSK and of course Riddle. They were going around, together, whatever. And now, all of a sudden, you got Fabian Eichner, Matthew Bartel of Imperium. Well, they just announced that if you're gonna bring, your shaman, we got the general. And guys, it is now official. At New Year's Evil next week, it will be Riddle and MSK versus all three members of Imperium. Matthew Bartel, Fabian Eichner, and Dos Lucoren. Walter joins the fray. Anthony Florio. Oh my God.
I smell something. You know what I smell? I smell a show stealer. I'm going to go on the record right now. This match is going to steal the damn show. I mean, wherever Walter goes, an instant classic is guaranteed. Ilya Dragunov, anyone? Tyler Bate, anyone? I mean, I could go on and on and on about the instant classics Walter has had, and that's gonna steal the damn show next week. Riddle interrupting Walter on the Titantron was the best part of this segment, which absolutely served its purpose. The Reign General and the original Bro will return to the NXT ring next Tuesday night, and it will be fantastic. It's not the case of, and it should be fantastic. No, it will be fantastic. MSK have been missed so much that the crowd is back behind them. While it does not make sense for Lee and Carter to regain the titles anytime soon, it is nice to see a serious tag team feud in NXT again. So there isn't much more to say. This was the segment of the night, and Michael Bullock, we got a lot of great matches on that card next week. Any of them could steal the damn show. Any of them can. But I think out of all of them, I think the sixth man is going to be the one that'll do it.
Oh, yeah, this sixth man is definitely going to steal the damn show. I mean, when you got MSK and of course, Riddle returning to NXT, and then you got Imperium, and especially with Walter. I mean, especially with some of the matches he's put on. You know you're in for something real good. And I definitely am high on this one. So nothing more to say, Fletch. It is yours.
And then we had ourselves a couple of cutouts here. Unfortunately, we had Harlan versus Andre Chase. The fight was stopped in 1 minute as Harlan absolutely destroyed Andre Chase. So that was the end of that. Then we had a debut. Tiffany Stratton going up against Fallon Henley. Tiffany wins the match in 2 minutes and 37 seconds. Decent debut. Now they were trying to do the daddy's little girl, basically this I guess you could say this little princess that there's a higher that she talks to a hierarchy, or that she gets what she wants. If anything doesn't go her way, she throws a little hissy fit or whatever. And it looked like at first they were gonna go with it, and then they kind of did a 180, and they're like, maybe not go this kind of route. So I don't know what they're gonna do with her. She was pretty impressive. I mean, look, it was a small little sample size. I want to see more of her, and when I mean more of her, meaning more of her in the ring. I want to see what she's about. I'm not really very sold on her yet, but, decent performance on opening night for her. Then we had a few promos. Then we had Solo going one-on-one with Santos Escobar. And it was Solo winning the match. 10 minutes, 15 seconds. Anthony, this is an official match, so I'm going to give this to you. Dude, he took down your boy. He took down Santos Escobar.
Unbelievable. And Sikoa is polished. While he still needs to find a way to differentiate his offense from the Usos, he certainly knows how to compete with the best. He and Santos Escobar had a good match. The win for Sikoa keeps him well protected. WWE has done a lot to make clear that he is immediately ready to compete with the best. Boa can benefit from this win perhaps even more, as he will be the next one to fight the Samoan superstar. Zion Quinn and Electro Lopez are heading to a conclusion in their story. Lopez and Quinn together would be a nice change of pace in NXT, though Legado del Fantasma still needs a female member. So I will give this in excess of 3 to 3.25 stars and call it one of the fights of the night. So not much more to say here. Michael Bullock, let's get your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll give this 3.25. I mean, this was definitely one of the biggest wins so far for Solo Sikoa. I mean, going up against a man who once held the NXT Cruiserweight title in Santos Escobar. I mean, yeah, so obviously now Sikoa now is a new problem now in Boa, and yeah, so we'll see what happens there. And of course, with the whole Zion Quinn and Electro Lopez situation. So yeah, so there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, it's yours.
Yeah, solid match, like you said. I really got nothing more to add. I think you guys pretty much got hit every note on this one. So the next up we had was Von Wagner versus Malik Blade. Von Wagner wins the match in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. We'll skip this one. Go into the main event of the evening. This definitely needs to be talked about. This was a women's tag team match, but here's the kicker. The winners will face Mandy Rose at New Year's Evil, triple threat match for the NXT women's title. So we had Raquel Gonzalez and Cora Jade, and they went up against Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai. So the winners of the bout in 10 minutes and 54 seconds, and the women that will face the reigning champion Mandy Rose next week at New Year's Evil will be Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez. They will get the opportunity. Now, need I remind you guys, it is a triple threat match. One fall to a finish. Mandy Rose does not have to be pinned or submitted to lose the championship. Michael Bullock, you lead off on the main event. Jade and Gonzalez wins in 10:54.
Yeah, by a smidge, this is the fight of the night here. I'll give this about 3.25 stars as my rating for this. I mean, obviously Jade and Gonzalez get the win. They are still in that triple threat match, but yeah, this is about Mandy Rose trying to play the mind games here, because you heard her in that promo afterwards where she said that after what happened here, this match was made basically so she could pick up the scraps of whoever the winner is. But Mandy Rose, she can bite off more than she can chew, because you got Raquel Gonzalez who really wants her championship back, and you got an up-and-comer in Cora Jade who wants to take that title. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes down next week. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
3.25, 3.5 is my rating for the match. It was a very good main event. I got really nothing bad to say about it. I will say this though. I think a lot of people are going to agree with this. Cora Jade deserves an opportunity. I just don't see her winning the title. I know they want to establish Toxic Attraction as the top team in NXT right now, and they have done that very well. But Cora Jade really benefited, especially in the last couple of, in the last month or so. Cora Jade has really established herself as a legitimate contender. First off, winning the War Games match for her team, and then secondly, now she's in this match for the women's title. So I do believe when this is all said and done, there is a very good possibility she could walk out of here as the champion. I don't think it'll happen. She's too new, too young, unfortunately. Would I love to see Jade win the title? Absolutely. I think it'd be great, especially if you're gonna do this so-called youth movement in WWE or with NXT. So you really got nothing more to add here. So let's just move right on along.
To me.
And yeah, to Anthony Floyer, it is yours.
While it was a shame for Gigi Dolan and JC Jane to miss a main event, this was definitely the more interesting match to sell the night. It had plenty on the line, and four of the best made clear how much it meant to them. Given the chemistry on display, it might be worth considering making these more permanent tag teams. The NXT women's division could use them both. Cora Jade is a fine replacement for Dakota Kai as Raquel Gonzalez's smaller partner, and Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray are firecrackers together. Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez needed to win as the more interesting immediate challengers to Mandy Rose. Shirai and Kaylee Ray should also get title shots before Rose loses the title. So I'll give this 3.5 stars, call it the fight of the night. And it's not often I say this, but good booking from NXT 2.0 on this. So you took one match that did have somewhat of interest, but you swapped them out and you made this even more interesting. So well played. Overall review time. Let's go.
I thought it was an all right show. I mean, I could give this about 6.5. It looks like NXT is finally found their footing in a way they found their footing. I don't think that they're all the way there yet, but I think they have gotten better. And I think, with time, I think this could be an actual reasonable and decent enough show. So there's really nothing more for me to add here. I'll go 6.5. Anthony, it's yours.
I agree. 6.5. I mean, the main event was very well done. I like the booking of it. And then, of course, you also had that great matchup with Santos Escobar and Solo Sikoa, which I thought was the sleeper fight of the night. You had a few other good angles in here. Your typical show, but next week, though, I mean, New Year's Evil. I mean, I got a great feeling about that one next week. So it's a 6.5 for this one, for this go-around. But Michael Bullock, I'm telling you what, next week, if it goes as well as we hope it does and think it does, we could be in for an even higher rating. But it's 6.5 for now. But New Year's Evil, oof! If it's anything like Halloween Havoc and War Games, you're in for something really good.
Yeah, I'm definitely high on this New Year's Evil next week with the matches that are set for next week. So yeah, 6 to 6.5. I do agree they are starting to show some signs here, but they still got some work to do here. So a good show. I mean, let's just say good, but not great. So there's really nothing more to say, Fletch. Let's get on to the final AEW Dynamite on TNT before the move to TBS next week.
Yeah, and we started it off with a crazy match, as it was the Hardy family office and FTR. They went up against Jurassic Express, Christian, and the Lucha Bros. Winners of the bout in 12 minutes and 52 seconds was the Private Party, Matt Hardy and FTR. A little bit of a miscommunication between Christian and Penta El Zero Miedo, and boy, that cost them big as the heels get the victory in 12:52. This was an all right fight. I'll give this about 3 to 3.25 stars. I like the action. Multi-man matches, especially these kind of fights, they can go two ways: really, really good, or a complete and utter mess. And I think we kind of had a little bit of both in this instance. I think it could have gone either way. It was fine. It was a good match. But I will also ultimately, I gotta also wonder about the little explosion at the end. Jurassic Express and with
The Lucha Bros.
With the Lucha Bros, because that turned out to be very interesting at the end as well. So really nothing more to add. So Anthony, I'll give this to you. This was a solid match.
I'm going to be a little more generous here. I mean, this had action in spades, highlighting a tag team division that is among the best in all of wrestling. Beyond the quality of the match, though, was the storyline development that occurred during it. Jurassic Express and Christian Cage have made their intentions to challenge for the AEW World Tag Team Championships abundantly clear. Lucha Bros are the reigning champions, so it made sense from a narrative standpoint that there would be tension that ultimately manifested itself in ego and frustration late. The developments in the match suggest that feud for the titles is going to happen sooner rather than later, but FTR's victory certainly keeps them involved in the title picture. With the potential arrival of Ring of Honor stalwarts, the Briscoe brothers, and the reunited Team Red Dragon, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish, there is a ton of potential for this division to get even better moving forward. I'm going to give this 3.5 stars. And gentlemen, we don't even have to wait long because as if this debut edition of Dynamite on TBS next week wasn't already huge, you've already got Hangman Adam Page and Bryan Danielson for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship rematch from 2 weeks ago. You've also got the TBS Championship final, where we are guaranteed the first ever TBS champion. How about a World Tag Team Championship match to go with that? How about the Lucha Bros versus the Jurassic Express? And I'm going to go on the record. I think we're going to have new champions. I'm calling it. So, you want to start the show, the first show on TBS with a bang? I can't think of a better way to do it than with that. So, that's all I'm saying. But if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Whatever. So, and remember, I took a big chance the other night, and I went with Jungle Boy as my breakout star of 2021, because I think he's got a lot of upside in 2022, and I think I don't think there's any better way to start that upside by strapping him as one half of the World Tag Team Champions next week. So, and if that happens, then it'll make my selection of him for breakout star of the year not a fluke. So that's all there is to say there. So 3.5 stars for this. Great way to start it off. Great jump off. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, that TBS show just got a lot bigger. We got a world title. We got the world title rematch, the TBS title final, and now the Lucha Bros and Jurassic Express for the World Tag Team titles. Whoa. Talk about starting off with a bang.
Yeah, they're really trying to start off this TBS era of AEW Dynamite with a bang here. And when you got the world title match, you got the TBS title, and now a world tag team title match, they're really looking to hit one out of the park. So, yeah, 3.5 stars is my rating for this. I mean, FTR getting the pinfall here, and basically you could see the dissension from Jurassic Express and, of course, the Lucha Bros. So it definitely makes it intriguing with this World Tag Team title match next week. So could we have new champions? It's a possibility. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Lucha Bros retain. So there's really nothing more for me to say. Let's move on.
Yeah, the next up we had was 2.0 and Daniel Garcia. They went up against Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. 2.0 and Daniel Garcia wins the match in 8:33. But then after the match, Garcia and 2.0 try to get the leg up, and they did get the leg up until Chris Jericho hit the ring. And then Eddie Kingston and Jericho kind of had some war of the words going at each other. Florio, what was up with that?
Jericho has unfinished business with 2.0 and Garcia. That's what's up with that. Well, remember, let's not forget, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia beat him down backstage and put him out of action for a month. But now he suddenly finds himself in the Mad King's doghouse. A match between those two veteran competitors would likely result in a hell of a promo battle, just like we had with Chris Jericho and MJF. I mean, with CM Punk and MJF. And some damn solid matches, too. Most importantly, it's a fresh matchup that we have never seen before, making it that much more appealing to a wrestling fan base eager for new. For the match, 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. It was fine for what it was, but felt a bit rushed in comparison to the opener. Maybe that's because of the post-match activities, which saw Chris Jericho return and tease the program with Eddie Kingston. So there isn't much more to say on this. 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star for the match, but Bullet, can you imagine what a Chris Jericho Eddie Kingston match would be like? Awesomeness.
Man, oh man. I mean, that would be crazy. I mean, when you got these two on the mic, I mean, yeah, I mean, that would make it very, very interesting, to say the very least. 2.5 to 2 3/4. I mean, it was a fine match for what it was, but yeah, it did feel a little rushed, but I still enjoyed it for the in the amount of time it did get here. So yeah, so there's really nothing more for me to add to it. I mean, I thought it was good, but yeah, I mean, Chris Jericho, he wanted payback on Daniel Garcia and 2.0, but Eddie Kingston was like, what are you doing? And yeah, you could just tell he was not at all pleased with that. But it does make for a future feud, but we'll wait and see how it goes. So nothing more to say. Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, this was intriguing. This was interesting, to say the very least. But it is what it is. We had the war of the words, and so we move right on along. Unfortunately, one of the rare times you can have this happen, but AEW had a cutout. Wardlow going one-on-one with Colin Delaney. Wardlow wins the match in 1:23. Then we had some. Okay. All right, hold on. We got to get into this. All right. So, Dan Lambert was in the ring with his boys, Scorpio Sky and Ethan, and All Ego Ethan Page. And Dan Lambert started firing on everybody. So he talked about Cody Rhodes and the entourage and the whole 9 yards. Then took some not so subtle shots at Brandy Rhodes. And I can't even repeat half the stuff he said, because DCMA would come at my butt for some of the stuff that he said. Let's just say it was derogatory. It was heinous. It was downright wrong what Dan Lambert said. However, there was some points where, I hate to say it, but Dan Lambert was actually making some sense. And even some of the AEW faithful was actually somewhat agreeing with Dan Lambert. They weren't giving him that nuclear heat in the boo birds that he normally gets. Now, he got some heat, but not all. Not everything was complete heat. Some of the stuff that he said about, that Cody is now big time now, that he's not, this grand professional wrestler anymore. He called out Cody Rhodes, and some fans actually agree, I think, based off crowd reaction that I was getting, actually was agreeing with Dan Lambert on certain parts. And I'm going to say that. Then Brandy comes out, and she went there. First off, called him a wannabe Paul Heyman. Dan Lambert corrects himself and said, no, I'm more of a Jim Cornette guy. Whoa, okay, I'm not even touching that. So she's like, well, if you want to get your butt kicked by a woman for free, I'm here. I'm ready to go. Then the next thing you know, there was a little bit of some more of the words. Then Dustin Rhodes came out, and Dustin got jumped by Ethan Page and by Scorpio Sky. The others ran out of the ring before anything else could go down. All right. So it looks like they're trying to play the narrative that it sounds like they're trying to play the narrative of that this is going to be interesting to see, but he went right into that Cody Rhodes world, and that's probably not going to end well. If you're looking for sympathy for Cody Rhodes, you're not going to get any sympathy here. You beat my boy. You beat the Spanish god, Sammy Guevara, and kind of did it in a pretty shisty way last week, to say the very least. So, yes, I'm a member of the vlog crew. I'm one of his boys. The best damn vlog on YouTube today. Sammy Guevara with his crew, with Fuego del Sol, with some of the crew. They just added Ty Conte to the vlog crew now. So I mean, you want to talk about raising the stakes a little bit? Sammy, good job, bro. You did really good with that one, landing the Brazilian beauty on your show. So anyway, Cody, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you want to make him a sympathetic figure. All right, fine, whatever. But I'm kind of in the minority. I'm not sold on Cody Rhodes. I think it's time for him to be a heel again. So I don't know. We'll see. It's really interesting. But I like the assignment. I thought it was all right. But like I said, Anthony, I think one of the biggest takeaways was how much of the fans was actually siding with Dan Lambert when he opened up about Cody Rhodes, and especially when he talked about his big lifestyle and all that stuff. It kind of struck a chord with some of the fans.
Indeed it did. And well, it just goes to show the fans are giving Cody Rhodes the John Cena treatment. That's what it is. And I mean, this segment came out very well done, if I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, it's not often I say that regarding a Dan Lambert segment, but this one actually served its purpose. It really did. And it definitely got some heat on this. And I mean, man, that was insane stuff. I mean, the reaction to this should be interesting to follow on social media. Dan Lambert being moved into the Codyverse is perfect because these two acts absolutely deserve each other. And, it's definitely going to be very interesting to see the promo battles leading into all of this. So we're definitely going to, keep an eye on this, and we're going to get more in depth with this situation going forward on future programming. So there isn't much more to say on that. So Michael Bullock served its purpose, I would say. What about you?
It did serve its purpose, but you know what, Fletch, I mean, I remember a post you just said about these Jacksonville people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got to call them out. What the hell is wrong with you people? I mean, Dan Lambert said some derogatory things. Some of them are true, and you're actually agreeing with this dink? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, that is just, to me, you guys are barking up the wrong tree here. I mean, look, I know Cody Rhodes is not the best. I mean, he's getting the John Cena treatment, but when you go and say some of the things that he said, no.
Especially the comments he made about Brandy Rhodes.
No.
That's
I'm gonna take this a little further here. Some may have loved the segment. I know MF loved the segment, but now that I think about it, and after what Bullock has said, I got to be honest with you. It was as bad a segment as AEW ever. It was as bad a segment as AEW has ever produced. It was tone deaf. Continues a feud no one really wants to see between Cody Rhodes and Dan Lambert, and I damn sure don't want to see it. And featured the same tired trademarks of bad wrestling promos of the last 20 years. Wasn't good, helped no one, and it missed the mark badly. Wouldn't you agree, Bullock?
Agree. I mean, look. I mean, it's like, I mean, come on, guys. I mean, if somebody said that to my girl about my girlfriend, some derogatory stuff, oof, you wouldn't want to be anywhere near me. I mean, I'd find that son of a bitch, and I would take this guy to the woodshed and beat the you-know-what out of him. So, yeah, I mean, the segment was good, but that part, I think that went into the too much part of it, as far as I'm concerned. So
that was when Brandy Rose went and said, "Who said it was open mic night?" Well, the mic was hot. That was piping hot. Look.
Oh, it was piping hot. It wasn't just piping hot. It was burning hot.
It was burning hot. It was boiling hot. But I will say this. There will be some people that are going to like it because those are the fans that don't like Cody Rhodes. And they don't care about Cody, about Brandy, about the Nightmare family. They do not give a crap about them. So they're the ones that's going to side with Dan Lambert and American Top Team. They will agree with what was said here tonight. But there will be that other side that clearly is on Anthony Florio, clearly on Michael Bullock, that these guys went too far with this promo and that this is not what AEW stands for. That this is stuff that we would see in WWE or in a lower rated company, and you're better than this AEW. So, like everything else has been happening with Cody Rhodes, either you loved it or you hated it. And there's no in between. I think that's the best way to say it. And I think I'll get, and if Bullock agrees, I'm pretty sure Floyo will agree with my sentiment on that as well. So,
I agree. I totally agree with you on that much.
So, with that said, we move on. Next up we had was Jade Cardigal versus Thunder Rosa. When it was all said and done, Jade Cardigal wins the match, 11 minutes even. She's off to the final. She's going to face with Ruby Soho, the TBS title on the line next week. But then, after the match, well, before the match even ended, there was a masked individual. We didn't know who the hell it was. Beat up on Thunder Rosa. She revealed herself. It was Mercedes Martinez of NXT. She jumps Thunder Rosa. That brought Ruby Soho out. But, okay. First off, Anthony, you lead off on this anyway, so I'm going to let you take over on this.
Good.
Well,
I know where you're going.
I had a
freaking
bone to pick, but I'll pick it in a few minutes. You go first.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you to get in line anyway because I want to start this off. So, before I do that, let's do the professional thing and talk about the match first. Jade Cargill wrestled her longest singles match to date, and it showed. She is still largely inexperienced between the ropes, and Thunder Rosa had worked overtime to hit the marks and make it a coherent match. With that said, there is no denying the presence Cargill has. She looks like a star, carries herself as one, and shows the proper character and intensity between the ropes. She is going to be TBS champion. She's going to beat Ruby Soho for the title because of the sheer potential. Now, Mercedes Martinez. Debuting was a great move. and instantly enhances what is the women's division trending upward. Hopefully she can thrive as Jade Cargill's associate and muscle because she has a ton of experience to offer a young, hungry roster. That being said, this is where we have to call out the fans again. And MF, I was gonna do that anyway, because I'm like, AEW fans, you fans in Jacksonville, how freaking stupid and fickle are you? Are you damn morons? Do you have any idea who made her debut tonight? Do you have any idea of the body of work Mercedes Martinez has done in the world of professional wrestling? NXT, Mae Young Classic, of course, had a few things in WWE here and there. You know, she had a brief run in Impact Wrestling. I mean, she did win that Knockouts Knockdown tournament, part of that Impact Plus special in October, where she earned the right to challenge for the Knockouts title. Came up short against Mickie James, which I'm not surprised. I had a feeling they were going to keep the belt on Mickie because they wanted to, reignite the feud with her and Deonna Purrazzo. And yeah, they're going to do that in a big way in a couple of weeks or so. But dude, I mean, that was Mercedes Martinez who showed up here tonight. They poo-pooed on her like she was some dud enhancement talent. Are you all blind? Have you no idea the body of work she has done? Do you have any idea how much credibility she is going to bring to the AEW women's division? Let alone, I mean, I don't like the fact that they're pairing her with Cargill, if I'm being honest with you. Me personally, Mercedes, you're going to bring her in to serve as I guess you could say, a sidekick to Jade Cargill. I'm not a fan of that, honestly. But come on. The body of work and the experience that Mercedes Martinez brings and is going to bring to the AEW women's division that is now finally trending in the right direction now. I mean, fickle. That's all there is to say about that. It's like a kid opening a gift on Christmas morning and he or she didn't get the gift they wanted. Instead, they got a different gift altogether. Ungrateful. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You call yourselves wrestling fans? Bunch of spoiled brats to me. Get the hell out of here with that stuff. I'm done. Bullet go. 3.25 stars for the match.
Yeah, 3.25 for the match for me, but what the hell is with you Jacksonville fans? I mean, like Florio said, this is Mercedes Martinez. I mean, she's a damn good wrestler. I mean, she's put on some good matches in professional wrestling, whether it was NXT or Impact Wrestling. And this is how you treat her when she debuts? You ought to be ashamed of yourselves. You call yourselves wrestling fans? Get the you-know-what out with that shit. I mean, you guys don't know anything. I mean, you give her this and you treat her like she's a freaking ham and egg or jabroni? No, you guys are the ham and egg or jabronis because she's going to be a big improvement for this women's division, and you're giving her this treatment? You got to be ashamed of yourselves. You're no wrestling fans. You're a bunch of fakes. You're a bunch of phonies. And you better be better next time when AEW comes back to Daly's place, because if we get any kind of reaction like that, as far as I'm concerned, you guys aren't wrestling fans at all. So if you want to call me out and say that I don't know anything about wrestling, you guys are the ones that don't know anything about it. Mercedes Martinez deserves better than that, what you guys gave her. Get the you-know-what out with that shit. I'm done. Fletch, it's yours.
I am very interested to hear what Derek Ferreira has to say about the whole thing. I know he made a comment about Mercedes Martinez debuting, but I would really love to hear what he has to say about that reaction, because if he's like us, he's gonna be annoyed. He has to be annoyed because no wrestling fan in the world would have allowed that to happen. And for these Jacksonville jackasses to pull a stunt like they did here tonight, I mean, that's why they don't go back to that area. That's why they don't go back to Daly's place, because obviously they know something was bound to happen. So maybe that's why they don't go back to Jacksonville. I don't know. All I know is that this was definitely a bitter moment. And if AEW was looking for an ultimate payoff, the fans hijacked the moment and they kind of destroyed it on them. Because honestly, does anybody even think about Mercedes right now? Or how big of a debut that was? No. As a matter of fact, you kind of stalled her debut, in my opinion. I think what they did was actually kind of a disservice to Mercedes Martinez. So I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what we're going to see. But I'll tell you one thing for sure. If you're AEW, you're pissed at Jacksonville tonight. You're not happy with Jacksonville. I would definitely be very interested to hear what they got to say. So,
and I'm interested to hear what Derek has to say, because I'll tell you this right now: if he sides with the fans,
no, I don't think he will.
I don't think he will. I'm just saying if he does, which I don't think he will, but if he does,
I don't think he will. I'm just gonna be real honest with you, because he knows Mercedes really well. He knows what she brings to the table, like everybody else does. No, I don't think he'll. I think he'll call some fans out. I think he'll call some fans out for this. I would expect.
I hope he does.
Well, we'll see. We'll say this. Next up we had was after that. Then CM Punk cuts a promo. Well, it was cookie cutter. It was traditional. There was really anything amazing about it. Then we had Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs. They were cutting a promo. Nothing that really screamed anything for us. Then basically now what we did get is the main event. 6-man tag team fight. The Best Friends going up against, I guess you could say, the now reunited 3/4 of the Undisputed Era. Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Red Dragon, and Adam Cole. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 14 minutes and 50 seconds was Adam Cole and Red Dragon. And Michael Bullock, if you notice at the end, that stooge Brian Cutler showed up. He kind of helped. The Young Bucks got involved, but there was a miscommunication during the match where Kyle O'Reilly knocked out Adam Cole, and boy, did the Bucks jump on that quickly, saying, they're not here for you, Adam. They're not here for you guys. They're not for the elite. They got their own agenda.
Boy, this is very interesting. I mean, it seems like the war with the Young Bucks and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. I mean, that's going to be something interesting. But yeah, I want to give it 4 stars, but I can only give it 3.5 to 3 3/4 because of some of the outside interference. I mean, with the Young Bucks, and especially that freaking stooge Brandon Cutler. I mean, gosh, he's somebody that I want to punch right in his face. I want to punch his face right now. I mean, the way he runs around, no, that's beyond the point of go away. I mean, but yeah, I mean, there was some miscommunication, and yeah, I mean, you saw the Young Bucks basically saying, oh, that they don't care about you. They just want to make a name for themselves. And I don't know about you guys, but I was at work today and somebody told me something very interesting about what could happen with this. They think maybe, and this is a woman, as far as that I talked to, and she's an AEW fan too, and she thinks, and this is I'm only going with what she told me. She thinks the Young Bucks are going to turn babyface, and I think it's going to lead to a feud where it's going to be Adam. I think Adam Cole's going to side with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, and you're going to have those three, and eventually you're going to have on the other side the Young Bucks and somebody who should be returning from injury soon.
Omega.
Kenny Omega. Now, whether this actually happens or not remains to be seen. But when she told me this, I'm like, this is very interesting. Will they actually go that route? Who knows? But that's just something I wanted to tell you guys. So, Fletch, it is yours. 3.5, 3 3/4 for the main event.
I'll go 3.5. But I will say this: your friend absolutely makes a lot of sense. I do believe that there's going to be a power struggle right now, and I think you're already starting to see it between the Young Bucks and Red Dragon. And I think this power struggle is going to be for the services of Adam Cole. But I think once Cole makes his decision, which I do believe it will be for Red Dragon, that will open the door for Omega to come back. And when they do, I do believe we will see the Elite versus Undisputed. Well, I guess you can't call them the Undisputed Era because that's their that's the copyright of WWE and NXT.
Yeah, but
so
NXT.
That. So what do you call that group then? So I think that's going to be the question that I think a lot of people are going to have is what do you call this new crew that's in AEW? So I do know that if I remember correctly, but let me see if I find it because I know Bobby Fish did refer to them as something actually right here. Let me see if I can see it. No, actually there isn't anything here. All right, sorry. Yeah, so anyway, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out. All I know is that this was a very good close to the show, but what makes this even more interesting is what are we gonna get? And I think that's the big thing we need to wonder. So nothing more to say. Anthony Floyo, it's yours.
Yes, indeed. And this was a fantastic match and the perfect wrap-up to AEW's TNT run. The crowd was into everything both teams did, creating a red-hot atmosphere. The fans hung on every near fall, bid on every false finish, and erupted for Trent and Taylor's first hug in what felt like an eternity, giving the people what they want. The involvement of Cutler and the Bucks made perfect sense, given the story at play of their growing jealousy of O'Reilly and Fish's reunion with their former NXT associate. Matt and Nick Jackson were very openly jawing with Red Dragon following the match, making it very clear they were the ones who really cared about their friend. It is only a matter of time before Kenny Omega returns, and when he does, the war between the Elite and the artist formerly known as Undisputed Era will captivate fans, forcing them to pick sides and pledge allegiances. Until then, electric multi-man tag matches like this are welcome and appreciated. 3 3/4 star, teetering on 4 for me. So no, 3.5 to 3 3/4 star. This was the fight of the night for me, so really not much more to say. Let's get into our overall review, and then we'll preview day one.
Yeah, I will say this. This was actually a pretty good show. Very good for what it was worth. I'll give this about 7 to 7.5 out of 10. I really got nothing more to say. So, Anthony, it's yours.
7.5 for me. I mean, we had the Wardlow, that delicious squash by Wardlow. Other than that, everything else was all the other matches were solid to good to great. And then, of course, the real highlight, I know for all of us, was the return to commentary of one good old JR, Jim Ross, and he did not lose a step whatsoever. You could tell he did not miss the last 4 weeks because of those cancer treatments. He's cancer-free as well, so a doubly blessed day for good old JR. And it was so nice to hear him back with Excalibur and Tony Schiavone once again. And yeah, I mean, if you thought tonight was good, sir, wait till you see what you got in store for you next week in Newark, New Jersey. He unfortunately had to miss out on Paige and Bryan 1, but he'll get Paige and Danielson 2 next week, and he's going to get to be there for that. So I'm glad he's going to get that opportunity. So 7.5 for me. And Michael Bullock, it's goodbye TNT and hello TBS for Dynamite going forward.
Yes, and it's going to be a new era for Dynamite next week when it moves to TBS. So, yeah, 7 to 7.5. I mean, the matches that we had, some of them were good to solid to great. I mean, but obviously the big highlight for me is just seeing JR back. I mean, welcome back, Jim Ross. Great to see you again. Back where you rightfully belong, and I'm glad you kicked cancer's ass. And no, I mean, so many people and you saw that promo from CM Punk, and basically showing his respect for good old JR. And yeah, he missed out on the first match between Hangman Page and Bryan Danielson, but next week he's going to get to see this one, and I know he's definitely looking forward to it, as is all of us. So nothing more to say. Fletch, let's get into our preview of day one.
Yes, indeed. We will indeed do it. And we have 7 matches on the fight card as of right now. We got to take this at a very big premium, guys, because of these COVID outbreaks that's going on right now. A lot of this could change going into the night of the event. We don't know. So this is the card tentatively as of now. So we're taking all of this with a grain of salt. So we'll say it like that. We start off with the Raw Tag Team Championship, RK Bro versus the Street Profits. For me, it's RK Bro. RK Bro is the best thing that's going on Monday Night Raw right now. I just don't feel like it. I think it would be absolutely insane for the Street Profits to win these belts back, especially with the momentum that Randy Orton and Riddle had. I think they're so over right now. I just don't see them. I just don't see Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins winning the belts back. Not at this moment. Not at this time. Winners and still the tag team champions, RK Bro. Anthony, it's yours.
Agreed. It's going to be RK Bro. I mean, the match should be great, but like MF said, Orton and Riddle are the best thing to happen. Are one of the best things on Monday Night Raw, that tag team division. And, they've been great champions, and I don't think it's time to take them off yet. But I would not at all be surprised if the Profits were to somehow steal it. But for right now, I think it's a little too soon for the Profits to get the belts back. So if any team should dethrone RK Bro, in my opinion, I think it should be the Alpha Academy. And that's just how I feel. But for right now, winners and still Raw Tag Team Champions, RK Bro. How about it, Bullock?
Yeah, it's definitely RK Bro. I mean, they're the best thing going in that tag team division right now as champs, and I'm sure the Street Profits will definitely give them some fits, but it's going to be RK Bro retaining the Raw Tag Team titles. So, Fletch, let's move on to the next match.
This one I actually feel so sorry for Anthony Florio for, but Anthony, this is where you the luck of the draw did not come happy for you this time. It is Drew McIntyre 1-on-1 with Madcap Moss. Florio is yours.
No, I'm gonna do my job as the professional that I am. So the single worst storyline in WWE began with a childlike attempt to remove a sword from a desk and has encompassed a Miracle on 34th Street fight where the hottest spot involved dousing the heel in eggnog. Drew McIntyre, a long way from the WWE Championship scene he dominated in 2020, will battle Happy Corbin's lackey, Madcap Moss, in a match that absolutely no one asked for or wanted. There is no intrigue or mystery surrounding this one. Moss is in this match because from a character standpoint, he is expendable. He can be beaten without doing much harm to his value, and that is what is going to happen. McIntyre will steamroll the joke-telling jester of Happy Talk and move on to much bigger and better things in 2022. Worst fight of the night. This will be an absolute dud. Drew McIntyre wins. Bullock, let's not waste too much time on this.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Drew McIntyre's going to win. I'm not going to waste any more time on this crap. Fletch, it's yours.
I'm with Drew. I'm going to say it. Drew should win this one, and this should be a pretty easy victory for Drew McIntyre. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Next up, this is a big one, guys. The Raw Women's Championship on the line. The champion, Becky Lynch. The challenger is Liv Morgan. Michael Bullock, you lead off on this one.
Yeah, this is another match that we're really looking forward to, especially after the first match between the two, even though it ended with a little screwy finish with Becky Lynch grabbing the ropes, stealing the victory. But we'll wait and see how it goes with this one. But, man, I really want to see Liv Morgan win the title. I really do, but I'm sorry to do this, but it's still the man. The man Becky Lynch is, or as we like to call her, Big Time Bex, is going to still be the Raw Women's Champion. So, Fletch, it is yours.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I'm in total agreement here. Even though I would love to see Liv Morgan win the championship, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think right now, I think when it's all said and done, I think it will be a winner and still the Raw Women's Champion, Big Time Becky Lynch, the man, will rise once again to successfully defend the title. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Becky Lynch has been women's champion of either Raw or SmackDown every day, in which she has been an active competitor since her career-defining victory at WrestleMania 35. Big Time Bex has been embroiled in a feud with Liv Morgan of late, and after a gut-wrenching loss that saw Lynch use the ropes to her advantage, Morgan has been hell-bent on taking the title from her foe. She has to. Another loss would render the entire feud meaningless and would obliterate any momentum Morgan has had through all of this. That is not to suggest Morgan should go on a monster babyface run and beat everyone she wrestles. She does, however, have to pay this particular proving herself worthy and winning the title. Otherwise, WWE finds itself in a familiar situation with a champion enhanced to such a degree that no one can believably beat them, thus devaluing the rest of the roster. I know I should go with Becky to retain, but I'm actually going to take a chance here. I'm actually going to grow a set, and I'm actually going to go with Liv Morgan to win the title. If I'm wrong, hey, whatevs. It's fine. But for right now, I'm going to take a big chance here, and I'm going to say Liv Morgan wins the Raw Women's Championship. If she doesn't, then okay, I'll eat the humble pie and like it, but I don't give a damn. I want to see history. Nothing against Bex. She's great, but I think it's time we build a new star. So, who would be next after if Liv loses? Then who's next after that? I don't know. So that's why I got to take the chance and go with Liv Morgan. But if Bex wins, I would not at all be surprised. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Next up is Edge versus Miz one-on-one. Okay. I kind of feel like this is going to go on for a little while longer. That's why I'm going to go with the Miz in this battle. Any other time I would say Edge. But just the fact that I think they're going to prolong the storyline a little while longer, I'm going to go with the Miz to beat Edge in this match. And I hate to say it, the bloodbath that him and Maurice got at the wedding last on Monday night did not do Edge any favors. To me, Miz will win the match, maybe by cheating. That will open the door for a later feud when we get Beth Phoenix, Maurice, and we get that mixed tag. But just straight up one-on-one, I don't think it's going to be a clean finish. I got the Miz beating Edge. Anthony, go.
If I recall correctly, didn't the same thing happen to Seth Rollins the night before SummerSlam on SmackDown? And what happened at SummerSlam? Edge won the match.
Yeah, he did.
I think lightning strikes twice here. I mean, all right. The last couple of weeks, not this past Monday, but the Monday before, Edge was made to look like a fool, figuring out the Miz and Maurice's scheme, only to still fall victim to the skull-crushing finale that left him lying in a heap on the mat. Saturday night in Atlanta, and then, of course, this past Monday night, Edge got his revenge by interrupting the wedding renewal vow renewal ceremony officiated by Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff, and it ended in a bloodbath. Saturday night in Atlanta, he will look to avenge the sneak attack and put an end to the feud between former WWE champions in the process. Now, MF makes a good point. Miz winning would be a big boost for a guy who spent 2021 going through the motions following a short WWE championship reign. It would boost his character and position him right alongside the other main event stars on Monday nights. I just don't think that's going to happen, though. Edge, coming off a brutal feud with Seth Rollins, in which he won Hell in a Cell at Crown Jewel in October, is not back to lose to Miz ahead of WrestleMania season. The Rated R superstar will win Saturday night and begin his push to wrestling's most prestigious night. So once again, I respectfully disagree with MF. I say the winner of this match would be none other than the Rated R superstar, Edge. So not much more to say. Michael Bullock, the classic question: who do you agree with? Me and Edge, or MF and the Miz?
I'm going with you, Florio. I'm going with Edge here. I mean, and you even said, and there was a bloodbath. Edge won, obviously, at SummerSlam over Seth Rollins. So I think lightning will strike twice. But I do think they'll still find a way to keep this feud going. And I think that's when you'll see the women get involved, obviously already with Maurice. But I think that's when you'll see Beth Phoenix get involved in this. So Edge wins. Fletch, it's yours.
And now we come to the two. I believe now we get into our main event. The key. Oh no, wait. No, there is one more match before we get there. It is the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. The Usos versus the New Day. I believe it is Anthony Florio who leads off. So Florio, it's yours.
There are a few tag team rivalries in WWE more storied or intense than that of the New Day and the Usos. Frequent foes over the top prize in the industry in their division, they will clash once again in a match whose roots date back to a rivalry between King Xavier Woods and Roman Reigns. The head of the table will be otherwise preoccupied Saturday night with the biggest main event of the year, leaving Jimmy and Jay to defend their titles against King Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. That the Bloodline just fired Paul Heyman as well ensures it will be solely on the Usos to retain their titles, with heel teams like Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, Sheamus and Ridge Holland, and Los Lotharios across the brand, it feels like this may be the time for New Day to get that big win and expose the first cracks in the foundation of the bloodline. So winners and new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, it's the New Day. I mean, I went with the Usos to win at Survivor Series, and that blew up in my face. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had the New Day win the titles again, because you know how much they love putting the belts on the New Day. And besides, with those fresh heel tag teams to potentially challenge them, I think this would be a good time to put the belts back on them. So winners and new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day. Michael Bullock, what says you?
I'm with you, Florio. I'm going with the New Day to become the new tag team champions. I mean, and like you said, because you got some fresh teams like Sheamus and Ridge Holland and others who would want to crack at the New Day. So I'm with you. New Day becomes the new champs. Fletch, are we gonna have a three-way agreement, or are you flying solo on this one?
You know, initially going into this, I actually had the Usos winning. I actually had the Usos winning because I kind of feel like they're going to want to keep the belt on them for a little while longer. But now, all of a sudden, I have to say, I actually think it's going to be a new champion. So, yeah, I'm with you guys. For me, winners and the new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day. I think they'll win the belts. So next up, that leads us with the co-main event of the evening, the Universal title on the line. Even though I think we're all going to agree this will probably be the main event, but I'm going in the order from the Wikipedia. So this one's up next on my list. It is Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, the Universal title on the line. And Michael Bullock, you lead off on this match.
This has been an interesting feud between these two. I mean, obviously with the whole Paul Heyman situation, but I mean, look, I mean, as much as I want to see Brock Lesnar win and end the reign, but I think it's got to be Roman Reigns to continue his dominant run as Universal Champion. I mean, having Brock Lesnar win it makes no sense, and you want Roman to go into WrestleMania season as the champ, and of course, we're all in agreement here. I think we know one man that's going to end that run. I think it's going to be Drew McIntyre. So, in order for that to happen, Roman has to still be the champion. So, winner and still the Universal Champion, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. Fletch, it is yours.
I agree. It's going to be Roman Reigns, and it's going to be his wise men. Paul Heyman, I think they're going to use that kind of narrative in the whole 9 yards, and I think at the end of the day, it's going to be that kind of a moment. So with that said, for me, winner, still Universal Heavyweight Champion, the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. The GOAT gets yet another big win under the spotlight. Anthony, it's yours.
The build to Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar at day one took an unexpected turn on the December 17th episode of Friday Night SmackDown when the Tribal Chief fired Paul Heyman as his special counsel. No longer is the question whose side is he on, but rather does Reigns stand a chance without backup. We know the Usos will make their presence felt in some form or fashion, likely just as Lesnar reintroduces Reigns to Suplex City. The question then becomes whether Heyman's dismissal from the bloodline was legitimate or a ploy by him and the head of the table to catch Lesnar off guard. A scheme to ensure the Universal Championship does not leave Roman's waist. It would not be the first time Heyman concocted such a plan against Brock Lesnar. The 2002 Survivor Series saw Heyman screw his charge over, costing him the WWE Championship and dealing him his first defeat at the hands of the Big Show. With all the talk about Heyman's career being over following his promo at the start of the Christmas Eve edition of Smackdown this past Friday night, it feels as though history may be preparing to repeat itself. Winner due to Paul Heyman's chicanery, and still the Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. In the immortal words of Vince Russo, swerve, bro. Main event time, MF.
The WWE Championship in a fatal four-way. It is Big E versus Seth Rollins versus Kevin Owens versus Bobby Lashley. To me, there's only one outcome this has to go. The winner and still the WWE Champion, Big E. Look, yes, Owens just got a new contract, and I know a lot of people were thinking, oh, that might mean Owens could win the title. No, it's not. I don't see Rollins getting it yet. And as a matter of fact, he just admitted he got COVID. So I don't know if that's going to help. If that's going to help his cause. And Bobby Lashley has been in the picture for a little bit, but he just jumped back into the fray. So there'll be no reason or no purpose for him to do it. Big E is one of the most over champions we've had. He's so huge right now, and Anthony and Mike Bullock knows because we were there, and you heard how the crowd reacted to Big E in Providence, Rhode Island, on that Monday Night Raw that we went a few weeks ago, and we know how big he was. So no, for me, it's over. Winner, still champion, Big E. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, Big E will face the toughest challenge of his WWE Championship reign thus far when he defends against Seth Rollins, Bobby Lashley, and Kevin Owens in a fatal four-way match on New Year's night. The three top contenders have kept Big E busy, with Rollins and Owens showing a distinct willingness to work together in their quest to knock off their powerful opponents. Just how long that lasts when the reality of the championship match sets in remains to be seen. But do not be surprised if the Visionary and the Prize Fighter form an alliance at some point Saturday night. All of the alliances and all of the devastating power moves by Bobby Lashley will be for naught. Big E still has a ton of mileage left as champion, even if WWE's creative team has not done the best job of presenting him in an interesting manner or letting him be his charismatic, entertaining self. He will retain the title and move into WrestleMania season, where he will await the next challenger to his throne. Winner and still WWE champion Big E. Michael Bullock, take it home.
Yeah, the obvious choice. Big E will still be the WWE champion after day one. So there's really nothing more to say. Fletch, let's put a bow on this night.
Yeah, we do indeed put a bow on this night, and we're done. So after that, we do got one more show to do. That's NFL Thursday. That's tomorrow. Hosted by Anthony Floyo. We're going to be covering all of the Week 17 action.
What time?
At 10:30, and we will do it then. And then after that, we're off. We're going to have ourselves an extended break to celebrate the new year. We'll be back on January 3rd, 2022. We're Ridiculously Raw, hosted by Anthony Florio, and we will get into the recap of day one, and more importantly, the first Monday Night Raw, as it now all roads will lead to the Royal Rumble, the first major event of 2022. So until then, for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher, alongside Michael Bullock, in spirit, Dede Woodson and Derek Ferreira. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you guys tomorrow night for NFL Thursday.
Goodbye.